Okay, thanks for stopping by. This is the official first video for Built for Adventure. This channel is about getting out, doing more. We're going to cover RV life, solar projects, camping, travel, fitness, poker, sports trips, biking, and just making memories with those that matter most. So we'll jump right in. This video is going to be a lot about technology and new gear. You saw that new mat out there that we put out there for this new season. And coming on into the trailer, all sorts of gear we're going to be using a lot more this year, especially with the New York Knicks making a giant run to the NBA Finals. And with that NBA Finals run, we needed to upgrade the TV. So we got a 32-inch Vizio Smart TV. It's going to have the latest apps and make it really easy to follow the games even when we're on the road. We're going to look at this Bestek Inverter, and here's our Red Wolf 30 amp breaker. This is really neat. With just a click of a button, we can turn the solar on the roof off so we can isolate if we need to troubleshoot anything or work on anything. And then we can simply click it back in and it's now activated again. Obviously, one of the largest upgrades we did this year was the charge controller from Victron, the MPPT 130. Huge upgrade over the PMW Go Power model that came with this rig new. We're going to look at the Starlink Mini, which is basically free for anybody now. I did purchase the optional 12-volt power adapter, and we'll get into why in just a minute. Okay, we're going to do a quick unboxing of this tiny little inverter. The thing you probably didn't know you needed for your RV. Try to do this with one hand since I don't have a tripod set up, but this is a really quick video. We're just going to show this. This is the newer model from Bestek. And it's really simple. I just needed a plug. It does have PD30 for USB-C and a traditional USB outlet there. And then we got a little cord here with some Velcro wrap. We'll take this off. Okay, we got the Velcro off. Let's get a little toggle on off on the back. And this cord right here. And there we go. I was looking for a 100-watt inverter to match the 100-watt max for the 12-volt plug on my wall, but this was all I could find with the features that I needed, which was a standard plug and then multiple USB options. So this is a really neat setup. It's kind of a newer offering from Bestek, so I'll have that linked below, obviously. But I'll just limit this to 100 watts of use, and I've tested this overnight with a load. Does not get hot. Works really, really well, and we're actually just loving it so far. Just finished our first trip using this, and we'll show some video of that later. But this just plugs right into the wall. Flip the switch, and now I've got an inverter, so I don't need to have a huge inverter installation with tons of wiring and all that stuff. If your rig has a 12-volt plug on the wall, you can simply get something like this and instantly be able to use anything that's, like I said, 100 watts or less, which is going to be pretty much any smart TV that you're going to fit in your RV, or Starlink as well. Of course, you could plug the Starlink directly into this if you have the 12-volt adapter, but if you do not, you could plug the Starlink into the AC port on the front of that mini inverter. Again, 8 amp max, if you see that there, that's 96 watts at 12 volts. So I'm never going to plug anything in that's going to draw more than 100 watts. Okay, it's actually enough cord to sit comfortably right here. Just put this out of the way. And I could just live right there. It's super quiet. That fan is actually on, but I can't hear anything. The only thing I hear is the refrigerator in the background in the RV. But let me show you why we got this. So right here, this is our Govee adapter for our water leak sensors. Our water leak detection sensors from Govee. But it requires a 120 plug. Now it only uses a couple of watts. It's very, very low power, but in order for this to be working, I have to be plugged into shore power. Otherwise I don't have power at the outlets. I've got power at USB and any other 12-volt places, but I need to have this. So now I can simply take our Govee adapter and plug it in right into the inverter. It's searching, it's connecting, and now we're protected. I'll go ahead and check the Govee app just to ensure that everything looks good. There's a little power button and our Wi-Fi button on top. So the only thing I'll have to check is just to see if any of this gets warm for long-term use. But this is a very, very simple, straightforward, easy to set up solution for power. It's going to draw almost nothing from my large lithium ion phosphate battery. It's going to draw almost nothing from my 230 amp hour LiTime battery. But now I can have this on without having to plug in the shore power, and it'll actually work while we're on the road as well. So if I want to leave that on for the alarms and for the peace of mind of getting the alerts on the phone, we can just leave that on whenever we want, when we're parked at home or when we're on the road, anytime we don't have shore power connected. Otherwise, I can just use this in one of the 110 outlets if we've got shore power. It's a 200 watt inverter. I really wanted a 100 watt. I wanted to match it to the maximum amperage and wattage coming out of this 12 volt that's always live in the RV. But really below a 200, they didn't really have any with a USB-C on there. I believe this is the newer generation, and 200 is probably as low as they're going to go on a model like this. It's already so small. It's smaller than the size of an iPhone, obviously thicker, but yeah, just extremely compact. So that is it, guys. That is the very small inverter, 200 watt inverter, direct from 12 volt. You can use this in your car, obviously, but I found a very good application to use it in the RV. I have a link to the description of these, the water sensors. I have a link to the description of this Bestek new model for 2026 200 watt inverter that plugs and works in, plug and play directly into your rig. This is a Jackery 224 BHW Baja, and it works great. Okay, just realized I should tell you why we decided to get those Govee water detection sensors. We got real lucky. We use our rig year round. We don't live in a super cold climate, so we don't really have a big need to winterize. But when we do get cold snaps, I usually leave the heater on or put a small electric heater inside, something very low wattage just to keep the chill off the rig. But during an unusual cold snap, we did get a couple of leaks inside the unit. And lucky enough, I caught one on the day it happened, and then I found two more within the next couple of days. So made some repairs. A lot of these connections aren't using the correct PEX to hose adapters and things like that. So you're going to find leaks in most cheaply built RVs. But thankfully, we just get this Govee sensor. We can put it right here underneath a potential leak spot. And if it gets water on the ground under it or on top of it, it'll send an alert. It'll make an audible alarm as well, which can be disturbing in the middle of sleep. We've had that happen one time. But thankful because I was able to tighten this up and stop the leak. And the other two leaks have not come back. We've got one here, we've got one under the shower, and one under the bathroom sink as well. So they've got a couple generations. I'll put the links to all of them below, mine and the new one that you see here, which is just a little bit better. And here is an unplanned update. So the rig comes with these normal USB ports at several locations all over the rig. Somebody had broken one of those, plugged in and maybe pulled down. So I found this after several attempts. This has a regular USB and two USB-C ports. It's a little more powerful than the original one that came with the rig, and also has an on-off button, so if you want to turn off that parasitic load. But this was the only one I could find that took up the exact hole in the wall that existed already, but now I can use all the latest plugs. I don't need any adapters. I can go right in from USB-C to USB-C for all your latest phones, so that's a really nice upgrade. Can also power this battery bank. So I love having that available in the rig and being able to turn that on and off. And it comes with a nice dust port plug as well. Okay, up next is the Jackery Explorer 300. Not new to us, but new in how we're going to use it. I almost exclusively used to use this for charging iPhones and tablets. I can do all that in the rig now. No more fear of running out of power with our upgraded lithium battery and our upgraded solar on the roof, which we're going to talk about in a second. I would get it with the 100 watt solar panel. I'll have links to the new version and this older version below. The new version just has a little bit higher output on the USB-C, and it's a little bit more money. So if you want a discount, you can get the old version still. Okay, next up is the Starlink equipment. So here we have the 12-volt adapter first, pretty good length cable here. And then of course the 12-volt adapter itself, USB-C plugs right into that. And then that goes into the back of the Starlink Mini. This is about $45 on the Starlink website, so I won't put a link in the description below. And then the Mini, of course, is free to just about anybody who wants one, so I won't have any problem buying one of those these days, because again, you should be able to get that for free through Starlink. Now, if you haven't seen one before, that's the pole adapter in my hand now. Comes with an AC brick, of course. Pretty good length of cable, but I can't imagine keeping this in the cardboard box. It doesn't really close or seal. So if you're going to be using this on a regular basis and traveling with it, definitely recommend a carrying case. I looked at all the reviews, looked at several different videos, and been very happy after a 4-day trip getting this in and out of the case several times, as I didn't want to leave it in the campsite when we went to the lake or were gone for an extended period of time or bike ride. I can tell you that it was very secure, very easy to get in and out, and definitely recommend this case if you're going to be traveling with your Starlink Mini. So link in the description below on this. All the cutouts are here, of course, and it fits not only everything in the Starlink Mini kit, but also the 12-volt adapter and the extra cable, and even the carrying case or the carrying strap for this case. Fits everything inside, no problems. So very, very happy with that. And here I am trying to figure out how this thing fits the AC brick. There it goes. Little insert foam goes right back in there. And again, everything's going to fit nice and snug and be fully protected when we're traveling, so no worries there. Last thing, I think we're going to put in all the 12-volt adapter parts. Plenty of room, no issues, and keep that Starlink Mini nice and safe. The only negative thing you might find if you look at all the reviews is people talk about the locking mechanism or those clasps. They take a few seconds to get used to, but I didn't find them difficult to use at all. In fact, I prefer them because they are secure. They're kind of a double action, so I'm not going to be afraid that they're going to pop open on you in travel or when you're carrying it or when you set the case down. So again, I appreciate it. I like it. I think it's going to work great, and we're going to have this for many years to go. Okay, one of the most significant upgrades we did anticipating this upcoming season was we doubled the solar on the roof. We went from the 200 watts that came with the rig to 400 watts available now. And we did that with the Rich Solar 200 watt solar panel. I've got links in the description below and some information on just making sure that matches the voltage and the specs on your current solar panel to make sure you have a matched set. The last thing we did for power was the battery. That was a major improvement. We went with a 230 amp hour smart Bluetooth LiTime battery, and that has changed our camping dramatically. We can now basically go forever off grid. We went from needing to get the generator out and running it every 2 days to keep the fridge going to now we can run constantly with a little bit of solar. The thing replenishes itself daily, and we can go off grid for 7-10 days without any worries. So one of the biggest upgrades, definitely the LiTime lithium battery upgrade. But of course, everybody's battery needs are different, so I'll have a link to our specific battery because it fits in the battery tray perfectly with no modifications necessary. But feel free to shop around for what's going to work for you in your application. Okay, we're going to finish this video with a real-life camping example. Here's our Jackery setup. We got the 100-watt solar panel. We can zoom in here. We can see that our output wattage is actually jumping between 29 watts and 42 watts. That's that Starlink Mini usage. And currently our input from the solar is 58 watts. So we could run indefinitely with these sunny conditions, which is really nice. Wouldn't be using up any juice in that Jackery. And we just set the Starlink Mini right on top of the roof here of the F-150. And this gave us over 200 megabytes per second, plenty of speed to keep up on the Knicks and their run in the NBA playoffs. So again, really neat setup. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try to get to everybody.